Memorizing facts feels like learning, but it often is not. Richard Feynman spent much of his life warning about this mistake. Learning is often measured by recall. People repeat facts and definitions and answer quickly. This looks like intelligence. Feynman noticed that many students could repeat words but could not explain what they meant. They knew labels, not ideas. Memorization trains memory, not thinking. It stores information without checking meaning. Real understanding works differently. It connects ideas, explains why things work, and allows ideas to change when facts change. Memory alone cannot do this. It only repeats what was stored. This creates false confidence. People feel smart without thinking deeply, and that habit blocks real learning. Understanding requires effort and testing, not recall. Memorization can imitate intelligence, but it cannot replace understanding. Memorization feels convincing because it produces fast answers. Speed often looks like skill. People who answer quickly gain trust, and schools reward this behavior. Feynman noticed that confident speakers were praised because their answers sounded correct. Few people checked whether they actually understood. Memory created fluency, and fluency created authority. This cycle is powerful. Fast recall feels like mastery. It builds confidence while hiding gaps in thinking. People stop asking how ideas work and focus on repeating what they learned. This works well on exams, but it fails outside them. Understanding moves slower. It pauses to explain, checks meaning, and sometimes looks uncertain. Memorization avoids this effort by offering clean answers without depth. That is why memorization is often mistaken for intelligence. It produces the signs of thinking without the work of thinking. Feynman disliked learning that focused only on words. He saw students use correct terms without real understanding. They knew names but not ideas. Knowing a word does not mean knowing the thing it represents. Memorization trains people to repeat labels, not meaning. This creates false clarity. People think they understand because they recognize terms, but they cannot explain how things work. When asked to apply ideas, they fail. Real learning connects words to reality. It links ideas to causes and results and allows explanation in simple language. Memorization skips this process and keeps knowledge on the surface. Words can feel comforting. Meaning requires work. Without meaning, knowledge is fragile and breaks under pressure. Feynman wanted ideas explained plainly because explanation exposes understanding or confusion. Words alone cannot do that. Memorization works best when answers are fixed. Lists can be repeated and formulas recalled. Tests reward this skill, and Feynman accepted its limited use. Memory has value in controlled tasks. Real problems are different. Conditions change, and context matters. Memorized answers stop working when situations shift. Memory cannot adapt, but understanding can. Understanding looks at structure, not surface details. It adjusts when facts change. Memorization waits for familiar cues, and when those cues disappear, it fails. This is why memorization feels safe in narrow settings but collapses outside them. Real thinking survives change. Memory struggles with it. Feynman wanted learners ready for new problems, and that required understanding, not recall. Memorization can block real learning by creating confidence too early. People believe they understand and stop asking questions. Feynman warned that when people think they know, learning ends. False intelligence feels complete. It closes inquiry and removes doubt. Understanding needs doubt and effort. Memorization shuts both down by offering quick answers. People defend memorized facts, resist correction, and avoid deeper explanation. This protects comfort, not truth. Feynman believed learning required active struggle. Ideas needed testing and mistakes needed exposure. Memorization avoids struggle and hides weakness. False intelligence feels safe, while real understanding feels unfinished. Only one leads to growth. Feynman tested understanding through explanation. If you cannot explain an idea simply, you do not understand it. This rule exposes gaps quickly. Memorization avoids this test. It repeats instead of explaining. Explanation forces clarity. It reveals what is known and what is missing. When you explain, you must connect ideas, show cause and result, and remove extra words. This work builds understanding. Feynman used teaching as a learning tool because it forced ideas into clear form. Memorization could not do this. Explanation turns passive knowledge into active thinking and shows whether ideas are alive or merely stored. Memorization focuses on what happened. It skips why and how. Feynman stressed that science explains how things work and why results appear. Without causes, facts are weak. They cannot support new ideas or guide action. Memorization collects results without structure and stores answers. Without reasons. When conditions change, that knowledge collapses. Feynman wanted students to understand processes and mechanisms. This made knowledge strong and flexible. Causes connect facts into systems, while memorization isolates them. Without causes, knowledge falls apart. Feynman saw thinking as active work. It involves testing ideas and checking them against facts. Thinking changes knowledge. Memorization stores information without testing it. Stored facts remain fixed, while active thinking reshapes them. Intelligence shows itself in action, not storage. Feynman trusted work over memory. Memorization fills the mind. Thinking builds understanding. One is passive, the other active. Active thinking creates new insight. Stored facts remain unchanged. Real intelligence appears through use. Memorized knowledge works only in familiar situations. It depends on pattern matching. When problems change, recall fails. Feynman valued flexible thinking. Understanding adapts and applies ideas to new cases. When patterns shift, memory searches for old answers, while understanding builds new ones. Memorization prepares you for repetition. Understanding prepares you for uncertainty. Feynman learned by explaining ideas simply, testing them against facts, and removing what did not work. This method built real understanding. You can do the same. Take an idea and explain it in plain language. Check it against reality. Remove what fails. This replaces memorization with clarity and turns learning into thinking. Feynman believed this. Approach required effort, not talent, and honesty, not speed. Understanding grows through explanation, and testing. His warning is clear. Memorization creates false intelligence. It looks like knowledge and sounds correct, but it lacks depth. Memory can support learning, but it cannot replace thinking. Real intelligence comes from understanding how ideas work. Memorization stops growth. Understanding creates progress. Feynman wanted thinkers, not repeaters, and clarity instead of fluency. Memorization copies intelligence. Understanding creates it.